Good evening. We continue our work on the annual town meeting for March. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, as amended on March 28, 2025, this meeting will be conducted in person and as a courtesy via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation is being provided, the meeting hearing will not be suspended or terminated if there are technological problems, unless required by law. Viewers can visit the localscene.media/Duxbury, formerly pac-tv, to watch a video replay of this meeting on Duxbury YouTube. Alrighty then. So we continue with our work. And tonight's menu is Article 6, the capital budget. And I'd like to welcome Alex Chin, who I'm sure is delighted to be going to an extra meeting this week, and has coming to help us work through what fiscal advisory has approved for this year's Article 6. Recommended, sorry, whatever. So off we go. Alex, would you like to, Mary, did you have anything that you wanted to add before we start this up? Mary's going to be joining us. So
I'm here. No, nothing to add. You got the handouts that I left you, correct?
Yes,
thank you.
yes, and a box of crayons to go with each one, so that was good.
I don't know whether you can see this, but I'm brought my magnifying glass just in case.
Yeah, you got to read it out of there, and he had a magnifying glass to follow along, which I thought was.
And you need it. Do you understand now why I have vision problems?
Yeah, well, we're all blind as bats here, so that's good. All right, so I'm going to turn this over and let Alex kind of take us through the order of worship here. And if you don't mind, Alex, if we've got questions, we can kind of just ask as we go along. If that's okay with everybody. Sound good? All right, let's begin, and then when we're done, maybe we can spend a little time on what is projected for outgoing years and things that were not included, maybe requested and not included.
Okay, perfect. All right, so
Do you need a copy of this?
oh, that would be great.
No worries. Here, buddy.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I was just trying to bring up my computer.
Nope, that's fine.
Issue.
I know paper goes against the grain for you, sir. We won't tell if you will.
Okay. All right, we can walk down the updated Article 6 schedule. So at the end of the day, I think that the town manager and fiscal advisory ended up recommending the same items. There were some things that I would say we took a little extra time looking into, of which were lines 1, 2, 11, 10 and 11. And well, I can get into sort of the details of them, but there was originally a request in here that got withdrawn around HRS system that will be coming back in future years. But it's more of an operating item. It's going to be, they're looking for a SaaS-based HRIS solution for the town. I think they're going back to work on the analysis of, is there some software we can get rid of? What are the efficiencies we're going to gain? What we were sort of told in the beginning for this HRIS system is there will be a lot of the administrative burden that they go through on a day-to-day basis of reconciling time cards and getting time into the payroll system, and then sort of dealing on the back end with benefits and things like that. But there are some very specific
Pain points.
pain points, but also there are some especially on the school side, there are some HR system things that they will need to keep. That this isn't going to be a one-for-one swap. It's so I think they're going back to look at the analysis of, what I'm what I think is going to happen is the analysis is gonna be more around saving some soft costs of people's time and things like that, rather than a one-for-one swap, and we're gonna get rid of this software. And these costs will then go into this new software. I don't think it's gonna be a one-for-one type situation, but the reason I bring it up is the town manager originally recommended that software when that project got pulled. It freed up some free cash for us to then sort of make the rest of our list whole. And so I'll jump around a little bit and just talk about the items that we talked the most about. So the first two are related. It's lines 1 and 2, the town computer replacement and the school computer replacement. The town computers, I believe it's somewhere around 300-ish endpoints. They range in ages of 12 years to
300 units?
300, yeah, yes. So like the computer in here would be one.
Right.
There are also ones that
Units.
people use,
Yeah, not necessarily laptops,
Correct.
units for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Okay,
Combination of laptops and desktops.
okay,
The issue with the majority of the fleet now is because they are so old, let me finish my thought. Most of them range from 12 years old to 3 or 4. The majority of them are greater than 6 years old. They are running an outdated operating system. And the majority of them cannot be updated to the latest Windows 11 operating system because of that. There's a security chip that's required in them. And it was time for that fleet to be redone. And they're going with a combination of Dell laptops and Dell desktops, along with monitors, keyboards, new mouses, power cords, and things like that. The thought to do them all at once was to keep them the same unit so they'll be easier to service over the life of the unit. And when we were thinking through the town replacement and the school replacement, town is going with PCs, the school is going to stick with Apple. We decided to lease the school ones because of the better financing we get from Apple. It's interest free. So we decided to oh yes, go ahead.
Good question, just the school tech Chromebook lease, are we still on the same talk or are we still on line 1?
No, these are for the
Bringing up
teachers.
Apple.
These are the teachers. So the line 3, the Chromebook, those were that's the one-to-one computing for grades 6 through 12.
Okay,
7 through 12, I believe, are in the Chromebooks.
so just Alex, just to go back to line 1, you're
Yep.
saying that the Windows replacement, because Windows 10 is a dead duck.
Yep.
And that you're also saying that some of the desktops and laptops in that line 1 are Apple based.
No, the line 1 are all PC based.
Okay,
Yeah.
so where do I go for the Apples?
The Apples are line 2. So the school computer replacement, those are the teachers and administrator laptops.
I'm looking at the right sheet because my line 2 says.
This right here. This is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You got the handout? Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Sorry, I apologize.
So the 380,000 that they were requesting was to purchase them outright, and
Yes,
you went with a 4-year lease.
yes, yeah,
Got it,
because Apple will interest free lease up to 4 years.
got it.
So we went back and forth with a 3 or 4 and realizing it encumbers us for the next 3 years.
Right.
After this for another, 95.
but doesn't leasing it include some maintenance and
You do.
so you save kind of the difference in that?
Well, and so since there's no financing costs with the Apple, we get the maintenance and we get the benefit of financing it interest free and getting the maintenance.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
The one, I guess,
I'm sorry, can I interrupt for just 1 second?
Sure.
I'm trying to share my screen. Is it displaying for you guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's there in all its
Okay.
glory.
Okay, perfect, because my display's a little crazy. Thank you. Sorry about the interruption.
perfect, thanks,
No,
Karen.
no.
Yeah, I guess the one thing to note is, the original town computer replacement estimate in ClearGov was $540.
Right.
We worked with Mike to look at, they buy some extras, some spares to have on hand just in case. We worked and whittled those down with Mike to, what we thought was gonna be about a $500,000 buy. When Mike went to get the updated quotes from Dell, even with the reduction in the amount of computers he was buying, the price had gone up. So this 562 represents the most recent quote from Dell for.
Chips,
Yeah.
processors. Yep.
Memory.
Yep.
Um. So, yeah, those were the town and the school computers were, something we went back and forth on, in the original, I think town manager's budget. The town computer replacement was funded at half. And we were able to sort of make up the difference, one, because of that HRS project that went away and reallocating some other items.
So that looks good.
And then, I'll just jump really
And the
quickly.
Chromebook lease is just the ongoing.
Ongoing, this is year 3 or 4.
So it looks as though as a community, we're just committed with the computers, even if they're leased, and I mean, 1 to 4 years isn't 5, that we're gonna be looking at it as capital.
Yes, yeah, we look at, I mean, it's, you can make the argument that the individual unit isn't capital, but I mean, we sort of look at it as a bundle of one bundle of items that will last longer than 5 years and is over 25,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I will, do you want me to just walk down the list or do you want me to jump to the other things?
No,
we sort
why
of
don't
have?
we just walk down the list? That
Okay.
might be, is that all right with everybody?
Yes, please. Word.
Central Fire Station HVAC repair, apparently, I don't know if you guys have,
Are we giving them heat?
we are gonna give them heat, hopefully.
The spoiled brats,
So,
huh?
yeah.
They want everything. Oh my God, wait till I talk to them.
Yeah, so I think we're all sort of familiar with the need over at the
What are they doing now? And what
space
is,
heaters.
and it's costing us a fortune.
Yes,
Jesus.
Yeah.
In light of the fact that it's costing us a fortune, have we made any thought as to putting that in the special as opposed to Article 6, Mary?
I think,
We,
and Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, but because it's getting funded out of free cash, I think we can start immediately after it gets approved at town meeting.
Mary?
that is correct.
Well, then goody gumdrops, keep going.
All right, police, it actually should say 2 fleet vehicles. So this is 2 fully outfitted Tahoes. The chief normally looks to replace 3 vehicles. He evaluated his fleet and determined that they need to replace 2. But they are 2 Tahoes and they are $90-ish thousand each.
Wow.
Fully outfitted. Yeah. The
What was that, the police?
police, yes, line 5.
So are we only gonna get 2?
Or 2, yes, it's 2.
And they're fine with that, but that still keeps their fleet
Yeah, that
on
was-
target?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's fully outfitted, we don't have to buy anything else?
Yeah, I think that the car, I believe the truck itself is somewhere in the neighborhood of 60,000 and it's 30 grand for
All the rest?
the accoutrements. And the chief will evaluate when it comes time to get rid of 2 vehicles. He'll evaluate the fleet, then determine which 2 need to go. They will look at potentially reallocating those to another department, but at the end of the day, 2 cars will get surplused somewhere along the line.
So we will reduce the town fleet by 2. if it's not necessarily the police,
Yes,
it'll be
yes, yeah,
someone.
it'll be two vehicles.
So
will
we're
be-
not growing the
We
fleet.
are not growing the fleet.
We know where that ends.
Correct. Yeah. All right, any other questions on?
How long will that take for them to come in?
Probably a year.
Yeah.
I think is what I remember correctly. Mary, do you remember that? I'm gonna look at my notes.
Because I remember the fire engine was years.
The fire engine
Big.
is gonna be 4-ish years they're anticipating.
Are these tricked out Tahoes for public safety?
Well, yeah, they're the.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the.
So they have to be built from the ground up.
Right.
They can't just get a Tahoe and retrofit.
Please.
That's correct. This is outfitted with the police package. Includes the graphics, the emergency light system, siren system, transport partition system, radios, etc.
You have a sense for the timeline, how long it takes to get one?
There wasn't a note. I'm looking at the ClearGov details. There wasn't a note here, but we know that there's still a significant lead time on these. So a year is probably about accurate.
Okay,
Well, we can place the order right after town meeting.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait till July to place the order.
Right.
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah, I think I don't know about the fire engine. So the next item is the fire engine, the 1.2 million. That's gonna be debt financed. That I don't know. Can we order it after town meeting or do we have to wait till July 1, Mayor?
No, with the fire engine, no, we can order it because there will not be any cash being exchanged. So they'll issue a purchase order to the vendor to place the order, and that's, if I remember correctly, it was at least a 4-year lead time.
That's what it sounded like.
Don't they look for some money though over the course of that?
They will,
Yeah,
they will look for some money when the chassis has been built. So a
Yeah.
municipality is not allowed to prepay for anything.
Uh-huh.
But the manufacturers, obviously, this is a significant purchase. They want to have some cash flow with respect to these large purchases, but we're not allowed to do that until there is an asset that is available for us to take title to. And that means the chassis. So once the chassis is ready, then we'd be looking at anywhere from a $400,000 to $500,000 down payment on that vehicle. But at that point, we will know the total cost and then we can initiate the borrowing. So that's a few years out, which is why it's a borrowing so that we don't have to tie up our cash flow right now for something that we're not going to need to make a down payment on for several years.
Would you do short term for the down payment or would you just issue what the cost is expected to be?
So that's a good question. I would prefer not to issue a short-term note if it all depends on timing. And so at the time that they build the chassis, we'll be working with the manufacturer to understand how quickly they will be able to provide delivery of the vehicle. And if it's within the same fiscal year, then I'd rather wait and hold off and just do one permanent borrowing for it, instead of incurring the debt issuance cost twice.
Right. Okay.
all right.
So that's all future debt for that one. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Harbor Master, line 7 and 8, 35,000 to repower one of the safe boats. And the other is $27,000 for a structural analysis of the pier. That's
Is this waterways or not?
waterways.
Both?
Both waterways.
Can I amend that just slightly? So
Sure.
the 35,000 is the town's match to a grant. The cost to repower that is much more significant, but that Jake has secured a grant, but it requires a town match. So that's what that 35,000 is.
Yeah, the total is 140,000. Sorry.
good deal.
Yeah.
That Jake can write a nice grant, doesn't he?
Sure can.
Okay, so that's a grant plus waterways.
Yeah.
Okay, and the town's here structural,
Yes.
I'm afraid of that one.
Yes. Yeah, so the town pier is original in 91 and there's never been an assessment since then.
You don't ask questions you don't want the answer to, right?
Yeah. All right, line 9, Chandler HVAC repairs. There are, let me get the number, I think it's like close to 50 exhaust fans, of which the majority have failed. And
This is the ones Katie was telling us
yes,
about, yeah?
exactly. Yeah. And then line 10 is the continuing repairs of the pack roof. So this is one of the items that our group wanted to make sure we fully funded this year. There was some questions over partial funding this, just as, you know, we were funding other priorities, but this one we were able to find funds for, and was sort of important to our group to keep up these repairs.
Is it patch or replace?
Replace. I think there might be some like seam repair.
Yeah.
Previously
People have
patched.
been patching that for quite a while.
Well, that's what I'm asking. We've certainly seen this request over a period of
This
years.
is, if I remember, this is year 4,
Mhm.
of which I think there were gonna be 6.
Okay. I think that's a good point to make. And, that it's a part of a planned
Yes.
repair,
Yeah.
4 out of 6, so that this isn't a surprise.
Yeah. And that was sort of important to us, you know, we knew there was more coming and we didn't want to just keep kicking the can down the road.
No,
All right, fuel depot. Our favorite fuel depot. So this original request was at actually $875, but they are finalizing the design with the architects, and have asked to bump the request from $875 to $975. We think we can fund, well, we're funding the majority of it out of free cash. 27,000, we are going to dip into stabilization.
the,
The capital stabilization.
what's the vote on that has to be used to get that out? Mary, is that 2/3?
No, it's not. The law was changed that it's only a majority vote on that. However,
Okay.
are items in this article that do require a 2/3 vote, the borrowing article and the lease article, both of those are considered debt. And so those both will require a 2/3 vote.
Right, but there is not gonna be any borrowing for the fuel depot, correct?
That is correct.
So we can start before it goes up another 100,000?
That would be ideal.
That would be ideal, wouldn't it?
What did they decide on that? Is it going underground?
Yes,
The depot? Yeah, I believe it's 2 underground 10,000 tanks, 1 diesel, 1 regular.
and the timeline that Sheila had given me is, so if this gets approved at town meeting, it will go out to bid immediately thereafter, with the expectation that it would be awarded later in the spring and that the construction would happen over the summer to be completed by the fall, so that it is done well in advance of next year's storm season.
Yay.
What do they use for a place to get gas while this thing is dug up?
I'll defer to the DPW director to answer that question.
Yeah, I think when they had to do some of the testing for the design, I think they were going to Barney's.
We did have to empty the tanks, and so yes, we were using some of the local gas stations.
Okay, not ideal.
No, of course, yeah.
No, I'm just saying, in case of emergency, a power outage, all of the things that could make that problematic, it's, what are you gonna do? I didn't know if there was a temporary rig available, but It is what it is.
And we, this one we did sort of push back on of, do we still want to be in the fuel business? Of, does the risk of a spill outweigh the risk of not having 24/7 access to fuel and going to some sort of fleet management card, but I think at the end of the day, we were convinced that with the current design, it will be implemented with up to the current safety standards, and we felt that risk was lessened.
Considering we have vehicles on the road 24/7,
Yes.
7 days a week,
Can't
every
get
single
caught
day of
short.
the week, month, year.
Yeah.
And then there's storms.
Yeah.
You'd be crazy not to have your own supply.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
wouldn't make any sense.
No, getting caught short on that is just not, it's not a good safety decision.
All right, and then the Powder Point Bridge, everyone was sort of comfortable that 300,000 for repairs was the right number for this year. Given hopefully what is coming with a potential bridge replacement. These repairs typically occur after the second inspection of the bridge, which happens in the fall. My understanding is there's 2 inspections, one in the spring before the season and one in the fall, and we prioritize our repairs based on the October, I think it's October-ish inspection.
Mhm.
So the bridge is closed now. Are we now spending the 300 we approved last year now?
Yes.
So even though everything that we waited 10 minutes on went up 100 grand, we feel like this is gonna be enough money?
Sort of has to be.
Okay, fair enough.
They buy basically the amount of boards that they need, right?
Yeah, they prioritize the I forget what the substructure is under the superstructure, and then the pilings that
Hold the bridge up.
yeah. The deck boards, I think they can repair a handful of those with sort of operating budget, but this stuff mainly goes to the
Pilings.
pilings and the superstructure cross members.
Okay,
And then one cemetery utility cart, 29,000.
well, you gotta figure the Chips right going around on a donkey up there because he ever asked for anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's the current one is, I believe it's street signs because the floor is rotted out. So
Nice.
Street
Oh, yes,
signs.
that's right.
The bottom of it.
Can't wear flip-flops on that, can you?
No flip flops on that.
Mhm.
I don't think the tailgate or the hydraulic lift works anymore. So
Used it up, wore it out, used it again.
yes,
There you go.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, on to water enterprise.
So now we're up to 4319,
799.
right?
Yeah.
But not really, because some is borrowed and some is,
Yeah, the little block on the lower leg talks about the funding. 3,030,000 is coming out of free cash.
Yeah.
Waterways,
immediately.
blah, blah, blah.
Mary, that 3,030,000 is coming out immediately?
It is available immediately.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't ask that right. Thank you.
Yeah, water retained earnings, backhoe, 160,000, repairing the roof at Lakeshore Drive well site. We're sort of hoping that 55 isn't the full 55, but that's if we have to do the entire roof. And then standard water main replacement, 500,000, and then continuing the PFAS design engineering of 1.6 million.
So the water main replacement going down from 1,500,000 to 500. Could you talk about that little journey a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's, if I remember correctly, Mary, I think there's 2.5 in the current water enterprise?
2.7.
2.7. And the thought was to not whittle that down to the bare bones, knowing what's coming.
So is PFAS coming out of that?
The
Million
the million
six
six, yes.
is coming out of water.
Water, so that's all, none of that is gonna be debt. At the moment, it's all out of water, current water retained earnings.
Everything's coming out of water retained earnings,
Okay,
2, 3.
But I think the important thing to note is, that PFAS design, engineering, construction is anticipated a $45 million filter on 2 wells.
with absolutely no hope for a grant or state, because we're not below,
We're not above
we're not above the,
yeah.
okay.
And I mean, and the other thing I think is to remember too, that the filters are not just PFAS.
Right,
It's manganese and, what's the other?
iron,
Yeah, I think it's iron. So that, I mean, we certainly have other needs to filter our water for, other than PFAS.
okay.
But the water rates have been adjusted, and they will continue to be adjusted through both budgets.
As far as, does anybody have any questions on these things that were approved? No, nothing?
Well, they
What?
look like they're 120% needed, so
Oh, well,
I guess the biggest question is what's left that we didn't get.
well,
Sure.
look to this second, much longer list.
Yes.
And why don't we do this? Could we, vote Article 6 is presented? Get that done so that I don't forget to do it, which would be typical.
I move, Article 6 for the, let me just get my verbiage correct here. Hold on 1 second. Article 6 for the annual town meeting, March 28, 2026, as presented.
Second.
Okay. And, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Staying,
0-0.
yep, 500.
I guess a couple other things worth noting that we also voted on, that I think will be in a different article. Do you know where, Mary, where's the cemetery gonna end up? The expansion?
Give me 1 second, I will tell you. Pull up my warrant book real quick. Oops. Cemetery. Oh, boy, we use the word cemetery a lot. Hang on. Oh, hang on. The draft I'm looking at didn't have a number, but this one does. Sorry. I'm flipping through my warrant booklet. Cemetery expansion. Right now it's at Article 20. But some of these articles are going to get renumbered because we're pulling the PEG access article, which is in the draft was Article 11, but we don't need that. So cemetery is currently at 20, but that'll move up to 19, presumably.
I have a few others we're gonna drop off too, I think, so the
Yeah.
numbers are all gonna change, we're not gonna get hung up on that, and I think our votes are
Correct.
couched in a- we don't
We're
have to
working
be-
with the document that Rainey gave out to you guys on Tuesday. So we'll just
Right.
reference those article numbers if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think two other items. We voted to recommend the cemetery expansion, $2.2 million. Which is getting funded out of lots and graves, perpetual and Mayflower funds, and I think it's a separate article because one of those needs, I think, a 2/3 vote. Mary, can you remind me on that?
Yep. So of the 3 funding sources, the funding source called Sale of Lots and Graves is the only funding source that requires town meeting approval. The other two funding sources are under the discretion and control of the cemetery trustees. But the project as a whole is being presented to town meeting with all funding sources identified, and we will just be voting on the sale of lots and graves piece, which is $800,000.
So are we wiping out perpetual care or?
So they are leaning very heavily on their cemetery funds to do this expansion, and we are almost depleting sale of lots and graves, and then we are leaning very heavily on Mayflower Care and Improvement. There will be some funding left in perpetual care, but bear in mind that this expansion is adding approximately, if I remember correctly, 2,800 lots to be sold in the future. So those will be replenished over time as those lots are sold.
And what is that fund typically used for other than something like this?
For which fund? There's three that we're talking about.
Lots and graves.
Lots and graves.
It is very sparingly used for some maintenance and improvements, but the cemetery trustees have not utilized those funds very much over the years because they have been planning for this expansion since 2018. And they have been saving and we have been investing those funds with the expectation that we would get to this point one day.
The only question that I have for the trustees is, I saw and I mentioned this to you, a blueprint or in the Clipper, I think. And I just wanted to ask, is the land all cemetery land? Are they looking to use some of the adjacent passive recreation land? And yeah.
So I am in the process right now. There are some articles that you do not necessarily have all of the information for in order to make a recommendation. And so I am organizing various department heads and other boards and committee members to come before you next week in order to address those questions. And one of the folks is Bob Hayes, who is the chairman of the cemetery trustees. So he will be available to answer your questions.
Great. Great. Does anybody else have any questions on that one?
I just wanted to break down I'm looking at the warrant article. And I wanted to make sure I got in my head the sources of the approximately $2 million. You've got lots and graves for 800.
Yeah.
Perpetual care for $1.2 million. The Mayflower Care and Improvement for 380.
No, so sale of lots and graves, 800.
Yeah.
Care and Improvement, Mayflower Care and Improvement, 300, and Perpetual Care, 1.1 million. For a total of 2.2.
Thank you.
Oh, I see what you're looking at, Fred. Yeah, those numbers, this was a draft. Those numbers have changed. Bob has submitted.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
What is the Mayflower Care and Improvement Fund? Is that a trust fund?
It is, but again, I think it would probably be best if we saved these questions for next week when Bob's available.
Yep, no worries. I'll stop.
Thank
Thanks.
Hold off voting. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, well, that's 20. Yeah, we're not trying to vote on that now because it's not part of Article 6.
Okay,
Alex was
I was just giving you a heads
Alex
up.
was just trying to trick us.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing we voted on as well was the all-in feasibility study of 1.75, of which 14550 would be borrowing and 300 would be out of the school building use.
Debt exclusion.
Yes, that's right, Mary.
Yes. That's what the fiscal advisory committee decided, but after your meeting with them. Yep.
Well, how did that go? We did too. I mean, it was a really difficult. I mean, the timing couldn't be worse if you paid somebody.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, I think our general feeling is, we need the town needs a lot of visibility into this one, because as we all know, this 1.75 turns into $100 million school potentially,
in a blink.
in a blink, and I think we all want to make the right decision, and whether, Alden and chairman need to be looked at together, as a possibility. Not our, I guess, prerogative to tell the school and the school committee how to do their jobs, but, in our mind, looking down the road, we need an answer for chairman.
Right.
Thinking about the strategic.
One of the things too, and they've gone back, it would be great for, especially at town meeting, to really delineate what can and cannot grow from this feasibility study. Does this allow us to look at Chandler as a solution?
Yeah, my understanding is the only, I guess, impact to Chandler would be if it was decided that the 3 to 5 school, which is currently housed in Alden, if you wanted to attach it to Chandler, you could attach it to Chandler, but you can't do anything else in terms of the K to 5 school, or excuse me, K to 2 Chandler Alden.
So they'd have to be side by each.
Breezeway or something in the middle, but you could attach it to it, but
That's about it.
that's about it. We couldn't think of it really as one solution. Which I think is what, when we did the middle school, high school, my understanding was we had one proposal for the middle school, one proposal for the high school, and so that when we went to look for, I forget the acronym, whatever. That's why we were able to combine those two, because we had two separate.
Well, actually, there was a benefit when we went to do it. The that group, the schools, what is it?
MSBA.
You would think we could retain 4 letters, wouldn't you? But, you'd be wrong. So the MSBA, they had various plans that they had already done for co-located schools.
Yeah.
And we did receive additional funds for buying into that as a concept.
Yes.
So it was very much it wasn't an a la carte situation. We were given a choice that if you'd like to do it this way, you can get more money.
I think we were only eligible because we had put in applications for both schools.
Yes, exactly right. So, yeah, it was worth money to us to do it.
Absolutely.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is, well, no arguments there.
So I was,
Fiscal advisory voted those two.
So we voted to make a separate article for the Alden School feasibility for the 1.75.
Yes, that's Article 13. So it's
Did you
not
vote to
coming out of
support
capital.
the article?
We did.
What was the vote?
It was unanimous.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
That was my question.
Yeah, sorry.
Same too as the cemetery was unanimous?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Were all of these votes unanimous? I mean, had you kind of gotten to a place of
Yes.
understanding on all of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What else, before we move to the things that we didn't do, are there any other articles that you all have as a capital?
That's it as of right now, and we're gonna sit with you guys on February, I think 3rd, to listen to the CPC.
Yep. Right, but are there any of the CPC capital? That wouldn't have anything to do with us, it's all them. Okay.
Sorry, and there we go.
Nope, no worries. do we want to go through and kind of things that go for the high points of things that were pushed out to next
Well,
year?
the significant ones, I mean, there's a couple here for 6,000, 2,000. I'm not gonna. I
No,
don't think we
Yeah,
need
those are all
But
cap light stuff.
something significant that was.
yeah, do you want to kind of highlight
so
the
I can-
things that were hard?
Awful lot of money.
I can tell you what we're, so what we end up doing is prioritizing everything that was requested in 27 budget into an A, B, or C. What you guys get in Article 6 is all of our A recommendations. I can go through B and C for you. So what was left in B were 4 items.
But wait, just 1 second before you do that.
Sure.
There is, am I wrong, on this long one here, it does look as though any number of the department requested ones, that includes A, B, and C?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that adds up to like, yeah, 20 million
$20
or something.
million.
Yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
20 million was requested and 6,000,666 was approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So the next things that if there was money, that we would have liked to have seen funded. One was highway truck 26, 73,500.
Well, I was kind of surprised there wasn't really, there's no DPW here.
No,
And I thought,
other than the fuel depot, which was their sort of their number one.
right, but I mean, that in and of its, other than the fuel depot, that struck me as unusual.
Fuel depot and the bridge are considered DPW related, as well as cemetery. That all falls under a DPW umbrella. But you are correct. Given the significance of the fuel depot, it added pressure to our ability to fund other items. And typically, I think we spend a lot of time talking about vehicles, and there's, certainly a list of requests for vehicles from various departments, primarily DPW. But we are also aware that building this new DPW facility and having the internal storage and canopies is also intended to extend the useful life of our vehicles. So we're anxious and eager to get that project completed.
I think that the only one that really jumped out at me was the culvert and bridge.
Study?
Yeah, the culvert study, because it seemed as though that was something that was kind of hitting red zone. Does
Yeah.
anybody else remember it that way, or am I?
It's certainly a hot button for Sheila. In our conversations, we asked Sheila to sort of go back and see if there was, Karen and our group was able to, I think, send Sheila a reference to, I think it was either Mass Maritime or Bridgewater State. There's potentially a class or some help we could get for free from one of those 2 institutions that could help us with that. We understand the need, but we're hoping that we could potentially do it with some free labor.
Yeah. Transfer station.
So that was on so we had 4 items in our sort of next tier of what we would like to fund. So the highway truck 26 at 73,500 was on that list. The transfer station trash trailer for 138,000 was next on the list. The $500,000 for the new compactor at the dump. And some funds for sewer maintenance. Which we sort of argue back and forth on is should that be in an operating maintenance budget or is that capital? There are, within the $20 million that was recommended in 27 and also in some of the out years, you will see some, maintenance type money in there, general pots of, especially in, facilities of, looking for really maintenance funds for HVAC systems and, sewer repairs and things like that, we need to, I think, align on. Is it, should these be coming to fiscal advisory or, do we need to figure out how to get these into operating budgets so, we can, maintain the things we already have in place.
Yeah, I mean, that's the rub, isn't it? I mean, the sewer upgrades. Mary, weren't we working on trying to see about the fees for the folks that are using our sewers or the maintenance of those? I know that it wasn't written into the original agreement, but weren't we trying to figure out a way that we could have the fees help absorb some of the maintenance, the routine maintenance?
So we have adjusted the water and sewer rates. We're in the early stages of that implementation. And depending upon consumer behavior, whether we reach our targets or not, we need to evaluate after we've had our, next 2 quarterly billings. But the intent was, yes, that we would be generating additional revenue in order to be able to add some of those things into the operating budget.
So I see that, especially with the sewer upgrades, just sewer maintenance. I mean, that cost us a fortune when we had to keep pumping them. Did we not put anything in for that?
We did not. Last year at town meeting, we appropriated monies for sewer maintenance. And so there is an article that was appropriated last year. There's still a little over $100,000 of funding available in that article that carries forward and is available for the sewer department to utilize in FY27.
Okay. I'm not the only one with questions, am I? Here, go ahead, just say no, because if I don't, my head's down, I'm not saying
The fire jaws of life, do we have a jaws of life and this would be?
We do, and I believe, they were gonna pull that project out because I think he was getting a grant.
Grant, okay, yeah.
I did call Rob and ask him on that one, because it didn't seem like it was,
With all the accidents on roof.
yeah. He had said that the one that they have, he feels will be adequate for another year and that
And then
that he was working on finding a grant to replace it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'm sorry.
Are we going now?
Good.
I was just gonna ask about the 2 other HVAC items. I know we're doing the big ticket one for the fire, but then the school district had district-wide 50K and then Chandler 60. And I know you were just making that point about like, where should that live?
Yeah, so the 60 we funded, so the Chandler HVAC.
60 is, and sorry, what about the 50? Yeah, so just the
So
50?
the 50 we didn't fund, and that's one of those things where we've layered into ClearGov on the capital plan. Some of these district wides, you'll see, 50, I think it's 50 grand for the schools and 50 grand for the town going out for the next 5 years for HVAC. Well, let me just make sure, because I think some of them estimated.
Well, I know that,
You'll see something similar for painting. You will see, sewer repairs, you'll see. Painting. Some of these things you need to figure out what is truly capital and what is, because unless it's, in my mind, unless it's extending the life of the asset, or, it's maintenance.
So where was the district HVAC upgrade and
Almost the
replacement?
second.
I know, I see where it is, but it doesn't designate a building.
Right, so I think what, Katie is trying to do, and I understand part of it is, they put in these requests so that they could jump building to building as needed. Which in my mind sort of dictates that
It's a chronic problem.
it's a chronic problem, it's more preventative maintenance or maintenance and not necessarily extending the life of the building.
So it should be in addition to her maintenance.
Yes.
And, Mary, does Katie have control of all the school, maintenance monies?
No,
Does that have to go through the school administration before she can complete the work? Does that have to have a second approval?
that is correct.
The second one, the
Yes.
schools have to approve it?
Yes.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah, my understanding is Katie puts in sort of a request and then the school yays or nays it. On school, there's not a dedicated bucket of maintenance.
Well, that's unfortunate,
Well, it's their money.
right? But if they don't spend it on maintenance, then until it blows up, then we have to buy a new one. So it's something I
Well,
think that, it's worth a
It's worth
conversation
a
at some
discussion
point.
about for sure.
And did that come up? And what was the response?
I think, from the school, I mean, so we certainly talked through it with Katie. We have not gotten a response from the school of, what they are promising or anything about how they spend their money. I mean, it was brought up in the conversation with the school department there, but, we didn't get a definitive, we allocate X, Y, and Z for, we certainly talked to Katie about, what is the industry best practice for, I think she based it on value of the building, what percentage you should have for maintenance. And we're
Woefully underfunded.
woefully under on both sides, town and school.
If I could.
Yes, please.
First of all, I want to tell you, I really appreciate you being here because you provide a lot of context that really helps me and all of us understand the numbers and what the deliberations. I have a few questions if you don't mind. The first one, and you may have touched on it already, but I want to get some sense of how that PFAS $43 million got onto the sheet. How was that?
So that's just the current estimate of what they think that
For all
filtration.
10 wells?
No, two.
Just two.
One station will service two wells.
Is there a I'm choking on this.
Uh-huh.
Is there any potential that
Mind your way, I'm sorry.
more would be required for additional wells?
Potentially.
Do we have any, I'm sure that there are a lot of people in this community, both pros of DPW and folks like you and us, thinking about that. Has that been discussed at all?
I believe it has, and I'll sort of pause, because I think we need Mark Cloud and probably Candace Martin, who are sort of the PFAS experts in town, can better answer that question. I know enough to be sort of dangerous, but But I think, Mark and Candace are probably best equipped to.
And I think that would be a great discussion.
Yeah.
I'd also want to go to the last page.
Al, do you mind if I just jump in on PFAS before you go to another subject? So the PFAS request for 1.6 million is a separate warrant article. And as I had indicated earlier, I'm trying to organize some additional folks to come before you to talk about these warrant articles. Two of the people that I reached out to is Candace Martin and Mark Cloud, in order for them to come in next week to talk about their $1.6 million article. But that would be the perfect, sorry, I'm eating peanut butter. That would be the perfect time for you to have that conversation at a larger scale about these significant capital projects that you're seeing on the radar.
I think that would be extremely helpful.
And I think just before we jump off the subject, the other thing you need to talk about sort of in the same breath is there's a line item here I think it's next year or the year after, I think it's $6 million for capping the McNeil dump,
Oh, yes.
which is,
Yes.
we think, creating a lot of the PFAS contamination in our water. That's
And again.
Gary's making noises.
I know that conversation has sort of gone in a circular fashion for the 2 years that I've been here. I don't know that the town has definitively pinpointed the actual source, but I'm no expert on that. But I do appreciate you highlighting that, Alex, because there are, as you guys were talking, I was highlighting some items on this schedule that is in the future years that are projects of a larger magnitude, and the capping of the McNeil landfill is certainly a significant project that we're going to be facing in the next 18 to 24 months.
Just a couple more real quick things, because Mary, at the end of this lengthy spreadsheet, and thank you for making it large print. What I appreciate you doing is to summarize it sort of by major department. Just a couple of observations I want to make, and that is that when I take a look at this, what jumps out at me is not so much the number, but I see in the facilities manager area that requested of 2.8 million, which kind of speaks to a number of the things that you mentioned earlier, Alex, and going through the specific line items. We've got some obvious maintenance issues that are really complex. And then on top of that, we've got these other major issues with PFAS, et cetera.
And I think one thing to note too, Al, is the projects that are identified just under facilities manager are just some of the projects that Katie is touching. If she oftentimes will put in not listed on this sheet, but on the one I have, you can see in who put the request in. And so Katie will oftentimes put requests in for other departments, but they're projects, facilities related projects that she will manage. So there's a number of projects on here that Katie in the facilities department touches, other than just the small subset that are listed as facilities.
That's very helpful. Thank you.
I have a question on the DPW. You have they requested 100,000 for drainage improvement and 75,000 for road preservation and paving, and they received nothing. So
Yeah,
what does that mean? What everything we're only going to handle emergencies?
No, there is it chapter 91, Mary? 90.
Chapter 90.
Chapter 90, sorry. There is chapter 90 money that I believe we get from the state that goes into paving. This was to supplement the chapter 90 funds. And I guess
both of those things.
yes,
And the context too is that
The chapter 90 money, if I remember, Mary is gone up the past 2 years or just the past year.
Just the past year. So for the better part of the last decade, probably longer, as part of the Commonwealth's state budget process, they issue a bond bill, and that bond bill is the funding source for Chapter 90 monies. That bond bill has traditionally been $200 million, and then it gets dispersed across the communities in the Commonwealth based on a formula. For this year, they increased the bond bill from 200 million to 300 million. But the additional 100 million, it was distributed based on a different formula. So yes, it did increase, but not at the same level or rate. You can't just assume that we were increased by a third.
Yeah.
Does that make
There
sense?
isn't one yet, is there?
I'm sorry, say that again?
We haven't got a budget from the governor yet.
Oh, no, nope. She's actually at the MMA conference today and she'll be speaking tomorrow. So we might get some previews tomorrow from her speech.
Oh, are you going?
No, I'm not going this year.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions? I have one on water. I remember last year and over the last year, we've been blowing water mains like it's our job. And there was a lot of conversation at the end of last year that we were going to be putting $1 million to, we were going to have to put a sizable amount from the reserve fund from the water department. I don't see any of that. I see 500,000, 2 million department requested and 500,000 recommended.
Yeah, I know, I guess I know a little bit of the story, so my understanding is there is still some money in the water main replacement fund.
Is there a discrete fund just for water mains?
No.
No.
Well, I have previous article,
Town meeting articles, right?
yes, previous town meeting articles.
Oh, okay.
And we were hoping we would like to have increased that 500 to 700 because I think in combining 700 with the residuals, that would let them do the St. George Street water main replacement that is on the schedule. So there's two big ones there, sort of next up, St. George Street and then Depot Street. I believe they'll have them. They would like to do St. George Street. But we weren't able to get the fully funded for that. So I think they're gonna go to Depot Street next with what they have in the residuals and then this 500.
Okay. I thought those were monies that were already there in their free cash account or their excess funds or whatever the name of that account is for the water department.
The retained earnings,
Retained earnings. What's the balance in that now?
2.7.
So where's that going?
So the 2.7, we're spending 2.3 in Article 6.
For water?
Yeah.
And is it going for the PFAS?
So part of it, 1.6 is PFAS, 500 for water main replacement, 55 for the lakeshore roof, and 160 for the backhoe.
So we're gonna be doing the design before we fix our water pipes?
The design for, well, this is the continuation of the PFAS. I mean, we've already dropped 1.2.
But I thought that was an article. Mary, am I confused? We've done a couple of articles for PFAS design.
They have not completed it. They did not have full funding to do the full design. So the design that they're doing is a continuation of what they started last year. And
So
this,
we're giving about $1.6 million.
that is correct. Yep.
And shorting the water main replacement,
Foregoing. Yeah.
foregoing. alternate
Putting it off another year.
They're synonyms.
And pick your pick. You only have so much money.
Exactly. So this is where you guys get to, make a recommendation on what you believe are the right priorities.
Yeah, no kidding. That's kind of concerning. I don't,
How was Sheila come down on this? I mean, since it,
I mean, her number one was the fuel depot.
Yeah.
okay.
and how much short were we in order to do St. George first?
So
He goes,
these are really good questions. And again, I'm trying to queue up Candace and Mark to meet with you next week. And so these would be great questions to ask of them.
I would like, is Sheila gonna be here for that too? Because would Sheila not have an opinion on this?
Oh, I'm sure she does. Yep. Yep.
Does anybody else find this odd, or am I just,
No, I don't think this is all well. I think it's very appropriate.
Yeah, I do too. These are great questions.
Because what Alex has done is to kind of give certainly me a feel for what's important. So just by looking at the numbers, I can't tell what should come first, second, and third.
sure,
And I'm sitting here looking at numbers going, I don't have a clue.
well, there's still money
That's
left.
why we pay fiscal advisor to do it. They're
Right.
paying more than
No,
we are.
and that's why I'm saying to Alex, it makes a lot of difference if you're here, because the subtleties and the nuances are coming through, and I'm starting to get a sense like, oh, I'll come during this maybe should come before that. And I think that this is really helpful for us, because it gives us a stronger position on town meeting floor to be able to say, look, let's break this down. Here's how this thing works. If you do this versus this, you're gonna get this kind of benefit. If you put this off, we can wait. But if we don't do this now, we could run into additional costs and be back here looking at another X number of dollars.
Well, every time one of those water mains blows, it costs us
Oh, yeah.
more money than repairing it.
Of
And
course.
we seem to have had an extraordinary amount of them blowing.
Hey, Mary, you mentioned that Bob Hayes was gonna come in to talk about the cemetery.
Correct.
And I know someone else is coming in to talk about all the CPC articles. What articles are those other two people that you were just mentioning? What are they coming in to talk about?
So valid question. Article 23.
22, you mean?
To get somebody from the local historic district to come before you. And
Okay.
Article 22 is the important one, which is that would be Candace, Mark, and Sheila to talk about
Right.
PFAS. And I'm really glad that you just asked me that question, Chuck, because it just occurred to me that we included in Article 6 the 1.6 million for PFAS. And that 1.6 actually needs to be moved over to Article 22. Is everybody following me on that?
still say
Yeah,
that.
that makes sense.
How about, is someone coming in to talk about this battery energy?
Yes, Matt Hines has already confirmed next week. Yeah, so Article 20, 21, 22, and 23 are the articles that I have reached out to folks to come in next week to meet with you.
That's the other option is like, then you could talk to Mary and other folks, is you could potentially look at debt financing that 1.6. And try to maybe roll it into the eventual $43 million filter station that's coming. That they're designing.
Well, I think, Mary, the only thing I would need on these questions about the 1.6 and what we're spending is what's left and what we've already voted. We voted 2 articles the last 2 years for money for this design. And I don't know if there's money left in those articles.
Right, so
It's just troubling that because we're not eligible for any state money. I don't disagree that the filters are an appropriate thing, but if we've still got money that we need to spend on that design, maybe we could pop that one out a year and fix some of these pipes before they cost us more money to fix than to replace. But that's just me, I'm, you know.
Again,
causing problems.
questions for Candace and Mark for next week. Yep, I would agree.
Great. So, when is, did Rainey have the date that he thinks that the select board is gonna be coming up and doing 5A and 5B? Because I wanna make sure that the finance committee has plenty of notice that they might be asked to come to that dance. Or at least give them the opportunity to be there in case the select board has any questions.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
we,
Can't speak for Rainey. I do believe that he's on this call. Right now,
Oh.
there is no date that has been defined at this time. I just heard.
okay, just, yeah, give us if you could just give us a heads up on that so that we can make sure that we're there, you know.
Looks like he just jumped on.
Hi,
All right.
I've been listening, because I wasn't a panelist, so I couldn't speak, but that's fine. We haven't come up with a date yet since we talked this afternoon.
That's great. Maybe when you talk to just give us at least some heads up.
I'll let you know. I will let you know.
What other questions have we got, gang?
We covered it pretty well.
I'm good. So, all right,
I think the frustrating part is you got a $30 million demand and the $8 million to spend, and
Right.
it's pick one. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
if we kick one of these off the list,
Right.
it would be just as egregious as adding and not putting something else on the list. I mean, it's just, they all need to be done, but we just don't have the resources. So bless your heart for coming up with a pecking order for us, and let's get them done, and hopefully we can move on to the next ones next year.
Right. I just want to stay, I think we've all been very supportive of deferred maintenance that has been ignored, trying to catch up on that as a priority, because it's gonna cost us a lot more money in the short and long run because we keep ignoring these problems. So I guess that's where I'm harping on, and I realize I'm doing a bit of a harp.
I think you said it last year too.
I say it
And the
every
year
year,
before.
and I'm gonna say it next year, and I'm gonna say it the year after that if I'm around. So, I just think that we keep kicking the can down the road. It ends up costing us more money than if we just got on top of
Well, what
something.
you're doing is you're helping us focus, and you're also gonna help the town focus, and all that's good stuff. That's all good stuff. There's nothing bad about it.
Mm. Thank you. But I mean, we're not trying to second guess you. You guys get a lot more time. So we're just,
No problem. Let me know if you have any other questions.
yep, we'll let you know what's going on. Does anybody else have any questions for Alex so we can cut them loose?
No, that's good, thank you.
Run like the wind.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Mary, do we have anything else that you wanted to have us consider tonight?
Nope, I'm all set.
We're gonna start on the special next week, did you say? Or the week after?
Hopefully next week.
Well, that would be great. We can, as soon as you have that, then maybe we can even just, if we have extra time, we can fit it in and knock that down. I don't think we want to. Do we want to, we have, 10 to 8. Do we want to take a look at any of these articles that we stopped at last week?
There's only 2 left in here
That on
that
CPC?
people aren't coming to talk about.
So we got,
24 and 25.
okay. Those just
And those are citizens petition articles.
Yeah, and I'd like them to come in, wouldn't you?
all right, so they're coming into that.
They are coming.
Yeah.
Battery storage is coming
Speed
in.
limit reduction, I'm trouble.
Yep. So we're kind of caught up on the articles that we can vote on without having people come in to speak their case, right?
I think we're in good shape.
Huh?
I think we're in good shape.
Yeah, well,
Now CPC is coming in on the third, right? February third.
yes.
Let's take care of it.
Yeah, that'll be great. Good, super. All right, well, it certainly doesn't break my heart to get done early tonight. We could do that.
Like a motion to adjourn?
I would take a motion to adjourn,
So
sir.
moved.
Do I have a second? A second from Ash? All those in favor? Aye. Thanks, Mary. Thanks, Rainey.